Okay, good evening everyone. So I hope that your preparation is going well, and this current affairs analysis or newspaper analysis should simultaneously aid your preparation. Those who have written mains examination, they may be taking some time to cool off, and of course those who are going to write mains next year, they need to gear up now. Next 3 months are very crucial for whatever the weaknesses that you have in your preparation. You need to focus on strengthening those parts, because after December immediately you will shift to prelims examination. So these 2-3 months are very crucial for focusing on your weakness in mains examination. It can be related to ethics paper, it can be related to polity or your optional. So you do the answer writing practice, and we have this Tucker program at Lukmaan IAS for year-long answer writing practice and MCQs. So that is also a good program. Also, if you're having the optional subject, you need to practice, you need to join any test series and complete that before December itself, or before January itself. Okay. Okay, let us see which are the important articles from today's session. Straight away, without wasting much time. Now, look at the first page, Nobel for work on click chemistry and quantum mechanics. Okay, so earlier I told you that now in this week there will be all Nobel prizes will be declared. We have to have the follow up on this. Okay, whenever we talk about Nobel Prize, how to understand the significance, why this Nobel Prize is given, for what kind of work of this scientist. Okay, that is important for prelims examination. And from mains perspective, applied aspect, what is the significance of this technology, development in chemistry, medicine, or simply biology or physics, significance, how it is important. That is important from mains perspective largely. तो इसी तरीके से हमें भी input लेना है, right? Okay. So we'll see this news in detail. Now, moving on, बाकी सब political news है वहाँ पर. Now, yes, directly come to the editorial page. Gubernatorial procrastination is unreasonable. Now, we are talking about the role of governor's assent that is required for enacting these state bills. Especially recently, it is in news because of examples of Tamil Nadu and Kerala governor not giving or withholding the assent to certain state bills, or delaying the assent of to certain bills. इसलिए ये news में है. And every year almost UPSC is asking one question on role, powers or something related to governor or lieutenant governor, Delhi or chief minister का जो conflict हुआ था. So that's why it is very important, and the writer is many times writing on this topic in the Hindu newspaper. P.D.T. Achari, former secretary for parliament. So you should be taking some inputs here, because he is writing very good articles on this issue. In this article, we will talk about the powers available with the governor under Article 200 related to giving assent to the bills, state bills. Along with that, the article mentions what are the international practices, especially UK and US. The comparison is given, and in the end it is talking about what should be the ideal practice, and what is the Supreme Court judgment related to it. All these aspects are important. Okay, so we will cover this from GS to polity paper. Fine. Okay, so other articles is fine. The bottom article is talking about calamity prone urban India's worrying storyline. Especially it is talking about urban floods. But we will not cover this much, let's say this article, because not specific, let's say expertise is not there by the authors, or simply we can say not much material can be taken out of it. Simply you can note down the kind of urban floods examples are mentioned in the second paragraph. You mention, note down that in your notes. Like in Delhi 2013 and 2021, Mumbai 2005 and 2017, Chennai floods 2015, 2021, Hyderabad 2020, Pune 2020. This was asked in the mains examination at that in that year. So whenever the question is related to urban floods, you mention these examples or instances. Okay. So this input can be taken from this. Okay. Now moving on, come to text and context page, which is very important for our examination. The criterion for SC status. Okay, scheduled caste status. Why it is in news? There is a petition in Supreme Court to consider the SC population who converted into Christianity religion. They are seeking reservation benefits. And the Supreme Court had again sought the stand of central government on this issue. That's why it is in news. No, they are seeking to categorization of scheduled caste, under scheduled caste. You should know some kind of, let's say, provisions at present under which religion the SC category is given the reservation benefits. You should be knowing about that. Under which rules or provisions it is given, when it was given, and why, let's say, the Christian people are demanding this. Some commission reports you should be knowing about this related to this. So GS2 paper polity part. On bottom side, what is insolvency and bankruptcy code, IBC? It is in news because 6 years of IBC have been completed and the finance minister has raised concern about effectiveness of IBC. That's why it is in news. So basics of IBC we will cover from GS3 paper economy part. How it works. Second, what are the challenges involved in the IBC, problems and way forward. Fine. So in this manner, GS3 paper economy part. Now very good concept explained on page number 13, again text and context. The impossible trinity, or it is called as policy trilemma. Okay, so this is the unique situation in which 3 policy measures related to domestic and the external sector. These 3 cannot work simultaneously at one time. Okay, so there should be some balance here and only 2 will work, 1 will not work. This is impossible trinity, that's why the name. Okay, we will discuss this in detail, we will try to understand because we are expecting this question in prelims examination especially. Okay, it can be asked in the mains also, but prelims में ऐसे terminologies पूछी जाती है concept के ऊपर, right? Fine. The next. Okay, so there is avalanche in Uttarakhand. Okay, so we know that Uttarakhand faces landslides and snow avalanche as the important natural disaster. ठीक है, तो आपको ये natural hazard and natural disaster. You can give the recent example here. Fine. Other news are political in nature. Okay, on page number 17, world page. Okay, Sri Lanka is anticipating a significantly lesser number of favorable votes at UNHRC. So it is going to be the vote on the human rights violation during the civil war in Sri Lanka. UNHRC is an international body under United Nations, we can say framework, and we should know basics of UNHRC from prelims perspective. We will cover that part. Then along with this bottom side news, White House calls OPEC plus supply cut move short-sighted. So OPEC plus countries have decided to reduce the production of crude oil so as to increase the crude oil prices. Artificially it is reducing the supply. So there will be increase in the international prices. So that's why the view, but we should cover this from the OPEC and OPEC plus as an organization, international organization, prelims perspective. Okay, so which countries are there as a part of OPEC and these plus countries which are not part of OPEC, but still they are crude oil producing countries. Together will be called as OPEC plus. Fine. On left hand side one news, caves of Bandhavgarh not Buddhist. It was earlier in news, simply note it down on page number 16. Okay. Recently, Archaeological Survey of India has released one report which talks about Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve of Madhya Pradesh. Recently there were new caves discovered there. 2nd century Buddhist caves and 8th and 9th century Hindu temples in that region. But the expert in this article is saying that these caves are not Buddhist. So it is controversy. Whenever there is controversy, UPSC will not ask question. Without any clarity, UPSC will not ask question. So simply remember the fact that in Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve, there are some new exploration or caves have been found, through excavation or archaeological survey has found these things. Itna hi yaad rakhna hai hame. They can ask the location, Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve in MP. Remember like this. Okay, fine. Yes, let's go in detail now of all these articles one by one. First one, issue of governor's assent to the state bill. This is very important, GS2 polity part. Okay, so why it is in news? Because recently Tamil Nadu governor and Kerala governor had denied or let's say delayed the assent to certain bills. But basics you should know. In parliamentary democracy that we have adopted, we have at center president and in states governor as nominal heads of the government, state we can say, right, nominal head. The real head are basically the council of ministers headed by chief minister and prime minister, state and central level. Now, we should understand that whenever a bill is passed by the parliament, that will become the law in the country only after assent by the president and governor. This is how the parliamentary system works, okay, or the constitutional framework talks about. Now, if the governor denies assent to the bill for any reason, basically it goes against the spirit of parliamentary democracy. Why? Because this bill is already passed by those people who represent will of the people. They are in legislature. They are representatives of the people and they have agreed. They have, we can say, passed that bill. So the nominal heads should not obstruct that from becoming the law. But here the governor are obstructing the will of the people represented by the state legislatures. Okay, so this crux issue आपको ठीक से समझना है. You should understand what is the issue. Yes. Now, some examples you should know that in Tamil Nadu, governor forwarded bill for exemption from this NEET to the president after considerable delay. This delay was being severely criticized by the state government from time to time. It was in news at that time. And later, we can say first the Tamil Nadu governor asked reconsideration. And basically after reconsideration also it was not passed, rather it was let's say forwarded for consideration of the president. And this is problem. Delay is problem. Then second, Kerala governor publicly announced that he would not give assent to the Lokayukta amendment bill and Kerala University bill. Who are you to publicly announce that I will not give? So this is not appropriate way, or it is against the constitution and its ideals, provisions. So these two examples should be mentioned in your answer. This goes against the parliamentary democratic practices, conventions. Now, let's understand what Article 200 of the Constitution talks about. Article 200 of the Constitution says that once the bill is passed by the state legislature, it goes to the governor, and governor has following 4 options to deal with that bill. Those 4 options are given in this Article 200. Which are these 4 options? The governor can give assent to the bill. Okay. Then, assent to the bill. Then second is it can withhold that assent. Okay. Withhold the bill. Third is it can send it back to the house for reconsideration of complete or certain provisions of the bill. Even it can suggest the alternative to those provisions. So, reconsideration of them. And fourth one is basically sending the bill to president for presidential assent, president's consideration. Okay, these 4 are the options available with the governor. Let's understand one by one. If the president gives assent, it's well and good, no problem. If let's say the governor gives assent, no problem, then governor send back the bill for reconsideration. Now this Article 200 specifically mentioned that if the governor is sending back the bill for reconsideration of the houses, and if the houses pass that bill with or without amendment, then the governor is under compulsion to provide assent to the bill. One time reconsideration, and after that he has to give the assent anyhow. He cannot withhold or cannot send that bill to the president. Understood? Now, sending bill to the president, there is specific mention under Article 200 that the bill containing the provisions related to changes in the High Court and its powers, its authority, that bill can be sent to the president for consideration and no other bill. It is clearly mentioned under Article 200 that if the bill is changing, bringing changes in the High Court and its power, its jurisdiction, then that bill can be sent to the president. Otherwise, no. But still many times the governors are sending bills to the president for other matters also. For other matters also, it is out of constitutional provisions. Understood? Like this one, NEET bill, it is sent to the president, it is not mentioned at all.
Only constitutional changes and constitution related matters only they need to give the
High Court, only High Court, okay, working of the High Court. So this one, now this is done. Now the problem is related to withhold. There is a vague provision in our constitution that the governor has no time limit to take any action on this bill. There is no time limit prescribed in the constitution to take action on the bill, be it assent or withhold or reconsideration. But the writer here is saying that that does not mean that the governor can delay for any amount of time. It will be fraud upon the constitution. It is against the spirit of the constitution. Understood? And that's why the writer is saying that these 2 examples goes against the spirit of constitution. Remember these constitutional provisions and how these examples relate to these provisions. Yaad rahega? Everyone. Now, the next is you should know the international practices. International practices, 2 countries are of interest for India, UK and US, क्योंकि हमारा पॉलिटी जो है दोनों से मिलता जुलता है. In UK parliamentary supremacy is there. हमारे यहाँ पे भी parliamentary democracy है. In US there is, let's say, judicial supremacy is there. In India also judicial independence is having more importance. So to some extent उनके practices हम match कर सकते हैं, compare कर सकते हैं. So what are the practices? In UK also the provision is that monarch, assent of monarch is required for enactment of any bill. जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे प्रेसिडेंट है, देयर इज मोनार्की, हेरिडेटरी मोनार्की इज देयर, so assent of monarch is required. However, there is specific provision in UK that monarch cannot withhold assent to the bill only because monarch does not want to give assent, or any, let's say, vested interest or any kind of unreasonable delay giving assent. Basically, in practice, there has been no denial of assent by the monarch in UK, sorry. ठीक है, ये आपको याद रखना है. So there it is purely ceremonial position, or nominal position. यहाँ पे they are not interfering in the legislative processes. Understood? Second thing, in US, to some extent, President of US is having powers. Now, what powers? President can send back bill to the US legislative houses, House of Representatives, or we can say Senate. If suppose, if the bill is sent back by the President, and if suppose the US legislative houses again pass that bill with 2/3 majority. Now, यहाँ पे specific है. If the bill again is passed with 2/3 majority, the President is bound to give assent. If it is let's say passed by 2/3 majority, the President in US is bound to give assent to that bill. So, basically their constitution itself provides for remedy कि अगर ये nominal head कुछ करता है, although in US the presidential government is there, but president can act in arbitrary manner, no, in US, because he is having powers. The powers are checked by this provision in the constitution itself. However, in India, there is no such provision in the constitution, especially for state polity, provisions related to governor. And that's why, and also some provisions are vague or misinterpreted. That's why all these issues are happening. Right. Now, the issue of challenge. Now, you should know that Article 351 of Indian Constitution, Article 361 of Indian Constitution says that whatever the actions taken by the President and Governor, there will not be any proceeding in court of law against these two authorities. So, there is some kind of legal immunity provided to the actions of President and Governor. And that is why it is difficult for challenging the decisions of Governor. How states will challenge the decision? This is the main concern. However, the Supreme Court in this particular case, Rameshwar Prasad versus Government of India. In this case, the Supreme Court has said that if the decision taken by Governor is having malified intentions, let's say political interest, vested interest, then that decision can be declared null and void by the Supreme Court. That can be declared by Supreme Court null and void. So, that is why states can challenge these decisions on the basis of Supreme Court verdict earlier given here. Supreme Court ने ऐसा verdict दिया हुआ है. That's why now state can challenge the decision of Governor. Understood? And if the Supreme Court finds this is a malified, then it can declare that decision as null and void. Understood? So in this manner, you should remember all this issue, all this discussion, and more clarity is required in the provisions of governor. Also, you should know that from time to time, Supreme Court has intervened case to case basis on arbitrary, let's say, actions taken by the governor. Like governor, the issue happened in the, let's say, Maharashtra. Few years back, when the government was being formed, issue happened. In Arunachal Pradesh, governor issue, especially related to presidential rule, है ना, government formation and presidential rule. तो ये केस टू केस बेसिस पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट इंटरवीन किया है, बट देर आर नो स्टैंडर्ड प्रोविजंस येट रिलेटेड टू इट. नाउ related to governor and its powers, you should be knowing about two important commissions recommendations. One is Sarkariya Commission, especially this one is more important, and other is Punchi Commission. ठीक है, तो इनके जो भी सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशंस के ऊपर इनके जो कमीशन के रिकमेंडेशन, इट इज गिवन इन एम लक्ष्मीकांत. ठीक है, तो वी हैव टू प्रिपेयर फॉर दैट. Fine. Now moving on to next.
Sir, up to now, all cases have been filed against governors, but there is no any case against the president.
No, because governor is having more discretionary powers as compared to president. Governor is having more discretionary powers as compared to president.
Point to point interpretation is more.
Ha. So that's why many times, and basically the position of governor is created with two important objectives. One is as a nominal head of the state. So there he can, let's say, work on the advice of chief minister. Okay, council of minister headed by chief minister, but he is also acting as an agent of central government.
Political interest.
Ha. So there the concern is second role. Fine. Criteria for SC status. Okay, scheduled caste status, why it is in news? Because the representatives of, we can say, Dalit community who converted into Christianity, they are now seeking reservation for SC category from the government. Now you should know that who are all included in Constitution Order of 1950. Now, when the reservation benefits were extended or started for SC and ST community immediately after independence, Constitution Order of 1950 included only Hindu community, we can say Dalit people were added largely in scheduled caste community. Now, this order was amended twice later. Specifics आपको पता होने चाहिए. It was amended immediately in 1956 after Kaka Kalelkar commission report, which said that some of the, let's say, Dalit community people converted into Sikh religion, they can be also given scheduled caste status and, let's say, reservation benefits. Thereafter, it was amended in 1990 to include those converted into Buddhism religion. They were included. So at present, those people belonging to Hindu religion, first one, second Sikh religion, and third Buddhist religion, they are part of SC community. Categorization wise, they receive the reservation benefits of the government. Clear hai? Hereafter, there are demands. Demands from which religion community? Muslim and Christianity. Okay, Muslim and Christianity. One should understand that the reservation or categorization as a schedule, we can say caste, was done Because of social and educational backwardness along with economic backwardness. But priority was given to social backwardness.
But sir, reservation is only decide to status of person, sir, not for the caste and religion. Sir.
No, simply understand that since centuries, certain, let's say, communities have been discriminated by the religious practices, like Hindu religion. Everyone knows about this, right? And because of that, what we observe is the social backwardness of those communities. And because of this backwardness, they needs to be provided some kind of benefits to bring them at par with other sections of community, society. इसलिए reservation दिया जाता है, right? So that's why they were separately categorized and given certain benefits. Now, immediately after independence, or we can say earlier also, some people from those backward communities got converted from earlier Hindu religion to Sikh religion, Buddhist religion. Like for example, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he himself along with thousands of Dalit people got converted into Buddhist religion, right? But their backwardness status did not change because of religion. Understood? And that's why they were included as a category. Okay. Now, hereafter, the central government is reluctant to include those people from Christian and Muslim categories, or religion, sorry, to include them in this order on the basis of social and educational background. And the argument given here is that Christianity and Muslim religion does not practice caste discrimination. Christianity does not have caste system. Okay, even the Muslim religion is not having caste system. Although at minor level or minute level there is some kind of divisions within religion itself. The upper community, lower, let's say, community backwardness is still there within those religions also. But here we will not call them, according to government, is not, let's say, ranging to centuries. जो हिंदू रिलीजन का हम बोल सकते हैं कि दलित्स फेस्ड द बैकवर्डनेस फॉर लॉन्ग टाइम. हाँ, so that's why they are given the status here. Understood? So what you should understand here, that why it is in news, the legal provisions at present, which communities or religions from the, let's say, people they are categorized as SC and which not. This can be asked in the prelims examination. Now, what is, let's say, the case? Is there a case for their inclusion? Basically, several commissions, including Mandal Commission, they have said that many people from Hindu religion got converted to Christianity and Muslim religion, and earlier they belonged to Dalit community. The data shows that there are some people, but government does not accept this as a empirical data. So, talking about a similar kind of petition in 2019, the union government said that we will not accept this.
Orally they changed everything, habits, day-to-day lives, but legally they are in the belonging to. That is the pressure.
Okay, so now you have understood the nitty-gritties, and this much information is sufficient. If suppose the Supreme Court talks further about it, what decision will be taken, then we will have follow-up here. Okay. Next, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, Economy section. Fine. Okay. So, IBC, you should know why IBC was brought in first place. Okay. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. This insolvency and bankruptcy are technical terms in economy. Insolvency or insolvent means a particular person or a business, a company has become insolvent. That means hereafter that person is not able to repay the loan that he has taken or the company has taken. So that person is declared insolvent, and thereafter basically, if suppose that company or the person's business is not at all generating any profit, then it is declared as bankrupt. So, insolvency and bankruptcy code, the name. Now, why? Focus should be on why. Why government came up with this code? Because there was increasing non-performing assets with banks, scheduled banks especially PSBs, public sector banks, and the amount of non-performing assets were increasing. And along with that, we had to maintain the healthy credit flow in the economy to promote the business activities. That means that required the healthy lending practices by the banks. But because of increase in NPAs, especially during the second half of UPA government, because of that what happened? The banks were reluctant to lend now. If the banks are reluctant to lend, what will happen? There will be low credit supply. It will hamper the business growth, business environment in the country. And to deal with this situation, the government had come up with this bankruptcy code, IBC. The earlier methods to resolve these, let us say, insolvency cases were ineffective. And this was being considered as the revolutionary measure to deal with NPA, and to some extent it has been successful. To some extent. How it works? Let us understand that, and some time limits and all these things you should be knowing here. See, bankruptcy code, how it was. Now, why it was added, introduced to speed up the resolution of stressed assets in the country. Now, who can apply? Individuals, partnerships, limited liability partnerships, LLP, corporates. When authority to decide insolvency application within 180 days of let us say further 90 days extension is allowed. The image is not visible as such, ठीक है, तो थोड़ा सा आपको ठीक से देखना पड़ेगा. Then fast track process of 90 days is available if opted. Now here the important authority is IBBI established under this code. Okay, so Indian Bankruptcy Board of India, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, IBBI. This is the authority, and here remember the time limit, 180 days and 90 days extension. Thereafter, as the process was getting delayed, this was amended to 330 days. Maximum within 330 days it was supposed to resolve. Now, what are the problems, the challenges? The challenges here is that delay in resolution process. Okay. And along with that, see, the ultimate outcome of IBC proceedings, there are ultimate two, we can say, outcome of IBC proceedings. And what could be these two? One can be resolution and other can be simply liquidation. Very good. So, liquidation. Now, what we are facing here is, the second challenge is more amount of liquidation than resolution. Whatever the data is we are having, out of those cases 50% resulted into liquidation, only 16% resulted into resolution. This can be mentioned in your answer. And this is one more challenge. We do not want liquidation. Otherwise, the corporates, or it will not promote entrepreneurship, business activity. We want resolution, no, so that the business continues.
Otherwise, assets will go to very bad condition.
Yes, in assets का appropriate value नहीं मिलता है liquidation में, market में. They are undervalued then. So it is loss to bank also, business activity, and the environment is not good because of this. This is one challenge. Then the problem is also related to, we can say, the lack of expertise in corporate law, human resource for this we can say resolution process. Okay, so there is need of more and more expertise in the corporate law for this purpose. We do not have at present that. Then fourth is huge amount of haircut is being done by the banks in resolution and liquidation process. What is haircut? This terminology is largely used in this stressed assets and NPAs. Haircut is basically the amount that is being waived off or considered as permanent loss by the banks in their balance sheets. That means banks खुद ही समझ में जाते हैं कि इतना हमें नहीं मिलेगा रिकवर करके भी, तो वो उनके बैलेंस शीट से हटा देते हैं. They provide from their whatever the resources that they have. This is not good for any economy, right? Because it reduces their further lending capacity. Okay, so this is not good economics. So what we have found, more amount of haircut by the banks in resolution and liquidation process, because the assets are not getting the appropriate value in the market. Right, all these challenges, and what experts are saying, in experts you can give the parliamentary standing committee report suggestions last year 2021. Several changes were suggested for delay compulsory resolution, or let's say limit, time limit is there, time bound we can say resolution should be there. This was given here that within 30 days, if suppose the resolution is not happening among the stakeholders, okay, there will be talks among the stakeholders, and within 30 days if it is not getting resolved, and let's say loan restructuring is not happening, something like that, immediately it should go for IBC proceedings. Okay, so this was suggested there. Then along with that, it has also let's say suggested that there should be fixed ceiling for haircut amount. Banks cannot go on providing for haircuts there. Okay, there should be some ceiling amount. Uske beyond jo hai, they cannot provide for the let's say NPAs in their balance sheets. Yes, I will give example. Let's say there is non-performing asset valued at 100 crore. Okay, and there is, let's say, IBC proceedings going on and all this. Now it is taking lot of time. Maybe the bank feel that assets will not be sold and we may not recover 100 crore rupees. So what bank will do, in its balance sheet, it will show the loss of only 70 crore rupees, and it will provide for remaining 30 crores. It will waive off that amount. The bank says that we will at least recover 70 crore. Understood? It is not seeking to recover 1000 crore, 100 crores. It is seeking to recover only 70 crore. It is saying that 30 crore is lost now.
Bank, one building cost is 100 crores, but in open market it is not able to sell in 100 crores.
Yes.
But only they will show as a 70 crores, remaining 30 crores is loss.
Loss, permanent loss.
Permanent loss for the public.
Loss to the bank.
Banks.
Loss to the bank. So this is the problem with haircut. And they are actually doing this because they want to reduce NPAs from their balance sheet. उनको कम करना है ताकि RBI की guidelines बहुत stringent है. If more NPAs, the RBI will not allow more lending. So reduce NPAs, it will allow more lending. This is the reason. Understood? Okay. हाँ. Yes, they are considering that we will not be able to recover it, and that's why जितना हो सकता है उतना ले लो, बाकी का लॉस है. Okay? Fine. Now.
But ultimately, that amount will impact on the normal
Yes.
public in terms of.
Of course, banking system, it will impact the overall economy, we can say.
That's why the banks have been introducing new surcharges on the public now due to the losses.
Of course, anyhow, it will collect that money from the people itself, no? Yes. Curbs announced on the construction activities, this was the news actually, I forgot, in the city page, Delhi. Okay, now the graded response action plan. The revised graded response action plan has come into force in Delhi and NCR. Why I am saying revised? Because it is revised by the new authority, Commission for Air Quality Management in NCR and adjoining areas, CAQM. This is statutory body. Okay, last year the government enacted this bill and this new body was created. It will oversee all that pollution related issue in Delhi and NCR. It has revised this graded response plan, and this revised plan will be in effect from 1st October 2022. And under this revised plan, the let's say the CAQM announced an immediate ban on all construction and demolition activities carried over an area of 500 square meter and above that are not registered on web portal created by the government of Delhi, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so stage 1 of GRAP has come into effect. Why? Because the air quality index in Delhi has worsened to poor category. Yesterday it has worsened to poor category. Let's see which activities are there and which are banned under stage 1. See, this is graded response action, graded response. As the air quality start worsening from poor to very poor, then severe, the worse and all, air quality index, accordingly the stages, 4 stages are there, and accordingly the stringent measures come into place. For example, this one, stage 1, strict vigilance and enforcement of laws, let's say to ensure pollution under control in vehicles, hefty fines will be levied. Then enforcement in the brick kilns and industries. तो यहाँ पे दिख रहा है आपको enforcement strict होता जा रहा है. In stage 2, no use of coal or firewood in tandoors in hotels, restaurants or open eateries. Yes, ban on use of diesel generator sets except for emergency and essential services. Then enhance in parking fees to discourage private transport and encourage public transport. Stage 2 में है ये. Stage 3, strict ban on construction and demolition activities in Delhi except for certain types of projects. Then these restrictions will not apply to milk and dairy units and manufacturing of life-saving equipment drugs. Okay, then closure of brick kilns and hot mix plants not operating on fuels approved by this particular commission. Closure of stone crushers and mining activities. Stage 3 में construction activities banned. And lastly, stage 4. So the governments can take decision on odd even, let's say, जैसे दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट करता है odd even, and then they can decide on whether the schools and educational institutions should be, let's say, allowed to remain open or closed. Then there will be, let's say, a ban on the linear projects like highway construction, road construction by the government. वो भी ban हो जाएगा. Okay, so this is how it is working, and it will not allow certain four-wheelers, heavy vehicles not adhering to the stringent emission norms, their entry will be banned into Delhi. This is the graded response plan. It will be in news now throughout 1 month, next 1 month. जैसे pollution बढ़ता जाएगा in this month, we can expect this. ठीक है? Now, the impossible trinity. Now, this is important concept in economy. Let's understand what does it mean. See, Trinity here referring to three terms, which are these: free flow of capital from one country to other country, transboundary. Second, exchange rate management, whether there is fixed exchange rate or floating exchange rate. Third one, monetary autonomy, means there is independent monetary authority and management of monetary indicators by any country. All these three cannot work simultaneously. There will be loss of one when two are followed. This is impossible trinity. And this was first given or proposed by Canadian economist Robert Mundell and British economist Marcus Fleming in 1960s. Let's understand. A difficult choice when the capital is largely free to move across borders. Now, in a globalized world, when all countries are following open economy, free flow of capital cannot be restricted. Now, what choice we have? When there is free flow, let's say free capital mobility, इसके साथ में either we can choose this or we can choose this. Let's understand this. What if the policy makers choose to peg or maintain the value of their currency at certain level against the foreign currency? So, here we are opting for fixed exchange rate. Now, because of this maintaining fixed exchange rate, what will happen is there will not be independent monetary autonomy, because in fixed exchange rate what will happen is the value of currency will either depreciate or appreciate to certain level beyond the management level. And because of that, the autonomy may be lost in the monetary policy. Fix करने के बाद, if let's say what if policy makers of the country choose to pursue independent monetary policy, so if suppose they pursue this one, what will happen? Independent monetary policy is there and free capital is flowing. Now the compromise may come to exchange rate. They have to keep this as floating exchange rate. They cannot keep it fixed exchange rate. Yes, presently. We want at present, जैसे this is what the current trilemma we can talk now. Now, current trilemma in India, what we can say here, that we are having free capital flow, we cannot restrict that. And along with that, we want to ensure independence in our monetary policy. If we want to have these two, we cannot have fixed exchange rate. We need to have floating exchange rate. We need to allow our currency to depreciate if it is depreciating. Yesterday's lecture, current affairs, the Hindu analysis, we talked about rupee depreciation in detail, let's say previous session. Now, there we talked about this, rupee is depreciating at present. We are having concern, but we are not stopping that artificially. So here we are maintaining this. We are dealing with inflation, the outcome of this, but we are not artificially stopping the depreciation. This is how the impossible trilemma is working, and at present why it is a challenge. Understood this concept? Okay, now moving on. Okay, so the Nobel Prize in Physics and Chemistry. Okay, so scientist Carlin Bartolozzi, Morton Maldell and K. Barry Sharpless won the 2022 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for discovering reactions that let molecules snap together to create desired compounds and that offer insight into cell biology. It is also called as bio-orthogonal chemistry and click chemistry, the field within the chemistry. Okay, we need not to go in details of that, but the physics part, you should know that K. Barry Sharpless has received now Nobel in chemistry twice, and he is fifth such person to receive two Nobel prizes. Okay. It came a day after alien aspect. John F. Clauser and Anton Zeilinger won the prize in physics for their advances in quantum mechanics on behavior of subatomic particles, opening the door to work on supercomputers and encrypted communication. Now this is very important. Electronics and cyber field, cyber security, right? Encrypted messages, encrypted communication. So the significance aspect from the mains perspective, we can expect question like this. Cyber security is part of our syllabus. Science and tech and cyber security can be merged here. याद रखना है ये. So quantum computing and we can say supercomputers, it is always in news. And let's say cyber security is always a kind of, we can say, important topic for internal security. Fine. UN Human Rights Council, so it was in news because of the human rights violations in Sri Lanka during civil war, and a vote in UNHRC will be there. Let's see what is the outcome of this UNHRC vote, but basics of UNHRC, intergovernmental body within United Nations system. Total members of 47, 47 we can say states are there. They are elected among the UN members, and along with that it is responsible for promotion and protection of human rights. It was created by UN General Assembly March 2006, and it replaced the earlier body called UN Commission on Human Rights. Yes, it meets at UN office in Geneva, Switzerland, and council is made up of 47 members which are elected by UNGA for a term of 3 years. Prelims याद रखना है हमें, 3 साल के लिए है. Countries are not allowed to occupy a seat for more than 2 consecutive terms. Now, how it works? UNHRC passes non-binding resolutions on human rights issues through periodic review of all 193 UN member states, called as UPR, Universal Periodic Review. Suppose there is question in prelims, UPR is related to which of the following? It is related to UNHRC. Fine. So non-binding resolutions are there. So what is the significance? It is giving a message. Yes, it is a kind of moral pressure on the government to take actions. Fine. Moving on. OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, and OPEC Plus. See, this body was created by crude oil producing and exporting countries. Initially, the 5 founding members were there, and Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela. And they created this body in 1960 through Baghdad Conference. Baghdad Conference. Now, at present there are total 13 members. 5 founding countries were later joined by Qatar, Indonesia, Libya, UAE, Algeria, Nigeria, Ecuador, Gabon, Angola, Equatorial Guinea, and Congo. Ecuador suspended its membership in 1992, later rejoined in 2007, now it is withdrawing again. ठीक है? Headquarter of OPEC is in, earlier it was in Geneva for first 5 years, but later it moved to Vienna. At present it is in Vienna, Austria. Remember this. Now, important publications. World Oil Outlook, yearly publication. Monthly Oil Market Report, monthly publication. World Oil Outlook. Now, non-OPEC countries which export crude oil are termed as OPEC plus countries. Which are these? Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Brunei, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mexico, Oman, Russia, major इसमें है, and South Sudan and Sudan. Okay, so they are non-OPEC countries exporting crude oil, and together they are called as OPEC plus. This is in news. Understood? Fine.
Oil exporting
Yes, yes.
But non-oil producing means what?
Non-OPEC countries we are saying, not oil. They are producing oil, exporting oil, but they are not part of this grouping. See, this is cartel. Cartelization, you understand? They are artificially deciding the
Create the
supply.
artificial demand.
Ha. So that the appropriate prices of crude oil remain and it is remunerative to those countries.
But ultimately, present situation, Russia will get big.
Yes, yes, to some extent we can say. Questions related to mains. What do you understand by impossible trinity? Is India facing such challenge? So, basics, current affairs. Then explain the working of IBC. Discuss the challenges involved in effective implementation of IBC. Again, basics, working and the challenges. Explain the controversy associated with governor's assent to the state bills with relevant examples. First topic that we discussed from the polity section. Try to write these, answers to these questions, whatever the discussion we are having. This will have daily answer writing practice on current affairs. On daily basis, we will provide you such questions. नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, आर्टिकल पढ़िए न्यूज़पेपर का फिर से. You read article from newspaper and then try to write because many factual information you may be missing. ठीक है, वो याद नहीं आ रहा होगा, आप न्यूज़पेपर पढ़िए फिर से. Then what should be answer to this? See, consider the following statement about UNHRC made up of 47 members, that is correct. Each elected member serves for a term of 2 years. It is 3 years, no? So, incorrect, no? Ha. So, third one is a correct statement, 1 and 3.
Consequence of 2 times.
Then, second.
Headquarters has been changed.
Yes, good. So it was created at Baghdad conference, that is correct. Headquarter, earlier it was located in Geneva for first 5 years and then it was shifted to Vienna, Austria. So second statement is incorrect and World Oil Outlook is published. So 1 and 3, C is correct answer. It's very simple. Okay. So we need to be aware about such terminologies and they relate to which part of our syllabus. So simply, and we have already understood the concept. There could be question on concept also, like impossible trinity, sometimes seen in news, best explained by which of the following statement. So you should know the 3 aspects: free flow of capital, exchange rate management, and independent monetary policy. Remember these 3? Okay, fine. Any question? Fine, let us stop then.